This particular study, we're talking about resilience. Could you give me a good definition of resilience?
Sure. Resilience is facing challenges but bouncing back.
Why was that a topic that was important for you and your colleagues to take a look at?
Well, if you think of resilience as facing challenges and bouncing back, everyone faces challenges, even young children. And so you have to be able to move on, develop the skills and the resources that enable you to move on.
Tell me a little bit about this research. What age group did you look at, and what were you looking at in particular?
Well, the interesting thing about resilience is that it happens at all ages. Everyone is confronted with challenges, and that includes the kinds of challenges that little children experience. They may experience fighting or bullying, whereas older people experience challenges as well in work and in school. Researchers have looked at the brain and found that the brain is affected by deep trauma, but there is room for improvement. People can recover, people can be resilient. And resilience happens throughout the life course. Of course, the brain is developing in early childhood, so trauma and challenges are particularly important for young children. But we have found that children can bounce back.
What's happening in the brain when there is trauma for kids?
Among young children of any age really, trauma can actually change the pathways in the brain, the architecture of the brain. And so it's very important to respond to that by providing stimulating experiences, support, warmth, and children can recover. They can be resilient even from the experience of deep trauma.
Because you're talking about the pathways in the brain being changed, how important is it for the people around that child, for their parents and their teachers, to recognize that something there is going on? And how do you go about recognizing that there might be a challenge that they're facing?
Well, if a child is having difficulty in life, for example, they're getting into fights, then I think the parent should be alerted to the possibility that has been trauma or that there is some kind of issue. Parents are children's most important teacher, especially obviously for young children. And so parents need to be alert to that. They need to be to provide safety for their children so that their children can really feel physically and psychologically safe at home. And researchers also find that it's important to provide sympathy and to build skills so that children can recover. For example, if a child does poorly in school, the parent might go in and talk to the teacher and learn what is wrong. If it turns out to be reading, the parent might take the child to the library and take out books and work on reading. So it's very important. Parents are very important as role models for their children. And so for the parent to respond to a difficulty that a child is experiencing by doing some kind of action provides a really good example for the child. That's skill building for young children.
How can parents provide that feeling of safety, that safety net?
Clearly, young children need safety in every environment, and so parents need to provide it at home. They need to recognize that it's being physically safe, but it goes beyond that. It's a child feeling comfortable, safe, secure, and supported in terms of their emotions, that they're able to talk to their parent and that they are safe in doing that. Parents also obviously need to check on childcare arrangements and school. To be engaged with other parents, to be engaged in school, to talk to teachers, so that they are comfortable that the child is safe there. If something comes up, they need, again, to take action. Say the child is bullied at school, then it's really important for the parent to go in and talk to the teacher, maybe talk to the other parent, figure out a strategy that will enable this to stop so that the child is safe.
Chris, you had mentioned this before in terms of role modeling, and I know that the parents have heard a lot about helicopter parenting. We don't want to do too much for our children. But when you're talking about this age range, why again is it particularly important that the parent take those steps and the child see it?
I think it's important at every age that parents be good role models. Children are watching. It's not just what parents say, it's what they do. And so children are learning from that. And when parents take action to provide a safe home and a safe childcare and school setting, when they snuggle and are supportive of the child, when they listen, don't just talk, but listen, and when they show sympathy for the things the child's experiencing, don't just say, well, take it, but recognize the experiences that a child has had, encourage the child to talk about them, and then help the child build the skills. Again, it's important to help the child build the skills not just by telling them what to do, but by showing them what to do.
Can the child's brain that has been traumatized be retrained? Is it ever too late after you've had this trauma, or can, with appropriate steps, can you retrain the brain?
With serious trauma, the brain can be changed. The pathways can be changed. But intensive interaction, sometimes therapy, programs, experiences, cognitive stimulation, all of those things can help retrain the brain and help the child to recover.
We had been talking about some of the behaviors a child could be exhibiting if they've had some of these challenges, and so that parents and teachers can be aware and be watching. Could you go through some of those again, a list of some of those behaviors that children might be exhibiting?
Sure. If a parent sees a child showing behavior problems, for example, fighting with other children, biting, hitting, or if a child is somehow now reluctant to go to school or reluctant to go to childcare, those are warning signs, and a parent might want to be very alert to them and think hard about what might be going on.
Can these obstacles and challenges be a good thing?
If you think about the challenges that people face, it's not good to have no challenges in life. Challenges can be a growth experience. It's also not good to have deep traumatic experiences. They undermine development. But mid-range challenges are kind of in the category where parents can recognize them and respond to them. They're part of life. You know, you may not be chosen for the sports team that you wanted to be on. You may get bad grades in school. You may have a fight with a friend. Those kinds of things happen pretty generally. And parents, if they can be sympathetic, if they can show support, if they can provide a safe environment, and then help their child acquire the skills that the child needs in order to surmount these challenges, then I think parents have really played an important role.
Is there anything that I didn't ask that you would want to make sure that people know?
I think it's really important for parents to recognize how crucial they are to the development of children. It's true at all ages, but it's particularly important for young children.
In some of the science and some of the background, talked about the seesaw, the balance of the negative with the positive. Can you speak to that? Just the balancing the negative emotions with the positive in terms of resilience, in terms of getting over those challenges.
Oftentimes when a child has been exposed to a difficulty, a setback, they react emotionally. And I think parents have to recognize that, sympathize with it. That will help the child to be able to talk about it and then move on to build the skills and strategies that will help them to do better, to be resilient.
The implications of your research for parents and for the community.
Research shows consistently that parents are extremely important to the development of children. That's through all ages, but it's particularly important for young children. Research also shows that it's not just what parents say, it's what parents do. Parents are extremely important role models for their children, and so they really need to think about the example that they're setting to help their children build skills to overcome challenges.
This study shows that we no longer think that once you experience trauma, that that's where it stays. So can you talk about how this really gives you hope?
People used to think that once you experience trauma, that was it. We now know, science has found, that recovery from even extreme trauma is possible with proper cognitive stimulation, emotional support, and experiences. That's a very hopeful finding from research, that children can be resilient.
So if there was one takeaway that you would want them to hear from the research, what would it be?
Research indicates how important parents are to the development of their children. That's a critical takeaway for parents. Don't discount how important you are.
Can you refresh my memory what the age ranges were that you were focusing on?
We were actually talking about adolescence.
Okay.
Yeah, that people are very focused on young children, but they often think that change is not possible once people are in adolescence or adulthood. But research is now showing that change is possible at all ages.
You mentioned that parents really need to, in some cases, get in there, and kids need to see them get in there. Is there a reluctance by some parents to get involved in this kind of a setting? And why? And how do parents overcome that reluctance?
We do find from research that many parents are reluctant to go in and talk to a teacher or a principal, but we know that that can be really valuable for the child. In fact, it can be a positive experience for the parent. But getting to know the other parents in the school, the teachers and the staff, can really help them to be as supportive as possible of their child.